Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekar, and here are your headlines for tonight.
Torrential downpours unleash a torrent of mud and debris, wreaking havoc on communities. Sri Lankan health workers' strike persists, with nurses and other staff protesting unequal allowances compared to doctors. Sajid Premadasa blasts ruling party for extravagance. Ranil Wickramasinghe to contest next presidential election, reveals Harin. Princess Royal, Princess Anne, meets President. President Wickramasinghe elaborates on Sri Lanka's involvement in Red Sea security operations in meeting with Middle East ambassadors. Shooting in Navagamua claims the life of one.
Heavy rains across Sri Lanka has caused significant disruption to the lives of the general public, with the Ampara district bearing the brunt of the impact. The Disaster Management Centre reports that vehicular movement along some roads have been restricted due to flooding and landslides. In Ampara, the hardest hit district, 1,198 families totaling 3,773 people have been displaced from their homes and have been relocated to 14 safe shelters.
Widespread flooding is reported in Ampara due to the Moravil Oya, Gal Oya, Ekgal Oya and Pallang Oya breaching their banks. The Ampara-Inginiagala main road, a vital link within the district, has been completely submerged from the Suduvella area onwards due to the combined spillover of the Ampara reservoir and the Konduwatwan reservoir. Sri Lankan Armed Forces and police stepped in to assist with transportation services in the affected areas. In Suduvella village, 41 families displaced by the overflowing Ampara reservoir have found temporary refuge in a camp set up at the Mahavapi temple. Hagoda Indrasara Vidyalaya, another displacement camp, now shelters 36 families driven from their homes by the rampage in Galloya. Since last night, all the divisional secretaries worked on facilitating students to attend the examination centres to sit for the A-level exam. We have assigned military vehicles to move students and staff from affected areas so that they can reach the examination centres without any issue. Almost all the water bodies in the Ampara district exceeded spill level. However, we witnessed a reduction in rainfall last night. We believe that we can manage the situation. The Southeastern University in Oluville announced the closure of all faculties except the Faculty of Applied Sciences until further notice. Students residing in university hostels were told to vacate their premises, and the Faculty of Technology has postponed its ongoing consultations. The Sri Lankan flood crisis has extended to Batiklo, where the overflowing Sitandi Sandandamadu River displaced residents in 4 Gramaseva domains. Newsfirst correspondents said the residents are seeking temporary shelter in Vinayagar Alaimagal Vidyalaya. This was the situation today at the Uduala 7th mile post in Halyala, which experienced a massive landslide just 24 hours ago. Transportation along the route is yet to be restored. This is another area that experienced a landslide. Residents of several villages in Halyala are grappling with the aftermath of a landslide that occurred near the Halyala-Katavala road. Traffic on the busy route remains disrupted, and communities like Kandigadara, Galauta, Godunna and Panakanya are particularly affected. The Halyala police stepped in to help students appearing for the A-level examinations amidst the disruptions. A group of farmers trapped for days by rising floodwaters were successfully rescued by a determined team of Valikanda police officers. These farmers were tending to their crops when the rains unexpectedly intensified. A 23-year-old mother of one tragically died yesterday after the walls of her house collapsed in the 70-acre area in Hinguragoda. Her husband and 1.5-year-old daughter were fortunately rescued from under the debris. Both are currently receiving medical attention at the Guragoda base hospital. Multiple reservoirs have already exceeded spill level. This is the Kiralava bridge that is located on the Dambulla Galkiriyagama main road. Among the critical structures jeopardized is this bridge near Dambulu Oya, where part of the side walls have been breached by the surging water. This bridge serves as a vital connection for various communities including Dambulla, Kakirava, Galkiriyagama, Andigala and Galnava.
දැන් අර බාන්නකො අතන තියෙන කඩාන ගිලා දැන් තව චුට්ටක් ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙනවා. දැන් මේකේ මේ මිනිස්සු යනවා කියන්නේ මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ ජීවිත අවදානමක් තියාගෙන ඒ කියන්නේ මරණ පරෙන්තුවක් අතේ තියාගෙන ගමනක් යනවා වගේ වෙන්නේ. අද අපේ රටේ ඉන්න මැති ඇමතුරුන් නැහැ මූණේ නැව්වල තියාගෙන පාටි දානවා සාකච්ඡා තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන් ඒ තත්ත්වෙ ඉන්නේ. නමුත් මේ පළාතක මිනිස්සු මේ මරණ පරෙන්තුවක් අතේ තියාගෙන යන ගමනක් තමයි මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවෙන් පේන්න තියෙන්නේ.
The National Building Research Organisation has issued landslide warnings for 10 districts: Badulla, Gaul, Kaluthura, Kandy, Kegol, Matale, Matara, Munragala, Nuwara Eliya and Ratnapura. The Department of Meteorology predicts around 50 millimeters of rainfall in Uva Province, Polonnaruwa and Matale districts. Thunderstorms are expected in the western and Sabaragamu provinces, Kandy, Gaul and Matara districts. However, a decrease in rainfall is anticipated from today onwards in the north, north-central Uva and eastern provinces.
In more headline-making news, Her Royal Highness Princess Anne, the Princess Royal of the United Kingdom, met President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the President's house in Colombo during her 3-day official visit to Sri Lanka.
The royal delegation, Her Royal Highness Princess Anne, the Princess Royal of the United Kingdom, was welcomed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri at the President's house in Colombo. Afterwards, the visiting royals engaged in a friendly conversation with President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Professor Maitri Wickremesinghe. Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga was among others present for the event.
From India.
You say nearly finished here. It looks pretty good. Dancers. Yeah. Has it changed? Would you put it back? You're being suited by it. Probably makes sense. Do you want to hear or there? Sorry?
Can I have my name just to prove that I've been here?
Amidst a brewing health sector crisis triggered by a controversial decision to increase salaries only for select professionals in the health sector, a lavish party hosted by members of the ruling Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna on board a Ports Authority ship has sparked public outrage.
The Sri Lanka Port Trade Union revealed that the SLPP ship party, which took place on January 9th, was reportedly hosted at the invitation of Premalal Jayasekara, the State Minister for Ports and Civil Aviation. The union claims that approximately 50 individuals attended the gathering, amongst them the leader of the SLPP, Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Port Trade Union revealed the party's details and released footage allegedly depicting the event. A tense exchange erupted in Sri Lanka's parliament as opposition leader Sajith Premadasa raised concerns citing the extravagance.
දුන්නු ස්කූල් සීසන් එක සීසන් ටිකට් එක ඒ කියන්නේ වාර ප්‍රවේශ පත්‍ර ඒක විඩ්‍රෝ කරලා තියෙනවා ජනවාරි මාසයේ. වැට් එක හින්දා රටම ෆ්ලැට් වෙලානේ තියෙන්නේ. ඇත්තම කතාව ඒක.
The season tickets issued for school children to travel has been withdrawn in January. The real situation is that the entire country is flattened by VAT. However, I would like to direct your attention to an incident where ruling party MPs, including former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, had used two vessels owned by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, namely the Hansakawa and the Akaula, and went out to sea for a party. How is it that in a country that was declared bankrupt, state funds are being used to obtain Sri Lanka Ports Authority vessels to host a party in the sea? Whiskey, food and even catering from the Sri Lanka Ports Authority were obtained. This is a sin. I need a response to this.
විස්කි ගෙනල්ලා කෑම බීම් ගෙනල්ලා වරායේ ආපන ශාලාවෙන් ආහාර පාන ගෙනල්ලා මේ බොරුවක් නෙවෙයි. මේ ඇත්ත කතාව. මේක පාප කර්මයක්.
ඔබතුමාට දීපු අවසරය ඔබතුමා අවභාවිතා කරනවා.
ඒකට උත්තරයක් ඕන. ලකුණු දා ගන්න නිකන් තුනේ පන්ති වැඩ කරන්න නතර කරමු. විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා මෙතන වෙලාවෙන මහජන ඉතිපත් කටයුතු කරන්න. මෙතන ගර්භණී මවගේ ඉඳලා කාරුණ්‍ය ව්‍යාපාරිකයෝ.
The livelihoods of expectant mothers, youth and businessmen have collapsed. So how is it that the former president can obtain two vessels from the port to host a party? Allow me to speak. You cannot silence me. Give me an answer. The former president is the person who stepped in to save your sister when she was involved in counterfeit cash. It was your father who provided weapons to the LTTE. If you want to stoop down to that level and speak, we are ready to do the same. On the matter of funding the LTTE, you should ask Public Security Minister Tiran Alas who gave the LTTE money and whose money was given. My sister nor my family are involved in such counterfeit scams. Do not speak in that matter. If you do so, I will have to comment about your conduct as well. I was speaking about something else. I asked, how is it that ruling party MPs are enjoying like this?
පෞගිය අයවැය අවස්ථාවේදී අපේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු කීප ගණනාවක ඉල්ලීමක් තිබුණා ආවම වරායේ වයිසීසී ආවහම ඡන්දය දෙනවා විතරයි අපිට බලන්න අවශ්‍යයි නිරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න අවශ්‍යයි.
When the expenditure head of the ports was taken up during the recent budget debate, MPs requested an observation tour of the port premises. In addition, they wanted to witness the sea sand removal project at the west and east container terminals. There is a delay with regard to the west container terminal. They said they wanted to speak about that as well. When MPs make a request, as the State Minister, I have a duty and responsibility to arrange an observation tour for them. I need this opportunity to explain as misleading matters should be mentioned. I will table the expenses for that event. Not a cent was taken from the ports. All the bills are here and all these bills have been settled. Do not make false allegations at us. Action must be taken with regard to certain media and those who make false statements. The former president is the former commander-in-chief who led the forces to the war victory. A video of him and 20 other MPs is being circulated and these videos were taken by the trade unions illegally. An immediate investigation must take place via the CID and I request they be arrested as well. State Minister Premalal Jayasekara commented on the matter at a separate media briefing and revealed that he incurred a personal cost of 300,000 rupees. We didn't go to party, it was an observation tour. I will show you some scenes. Take a look at it. This is how the ship is operated. Where is it going? These bottles may have been moved here before or some other time and have been coupled with this. Is it even wrong to offer it? This does not contain the fuel cost. Legally, MPs can be taken on an observation tour. If that were the case, I would have paid for that as well. If we wanted to enjoy, the MPs would not be taken on that vessel. We don't need to use dredging vessels. The MPs who attend travel well, and there is no need for them to use a dredging vessel.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරු ඇමතිවරු හොඳ ක්‍රූස් වල ගිහිවයි ඈ මේ ඇහිල්ලා වැලි ගෝවියෙක්ගේ ගිහිල්ලා ඕක බලන්න අවශ්‍යතාවය නැහැ හිඟර වැඩ දෙකේ පන්ති වැඩ කරන්නේ.
SLPP MP SM Chandasena elaborated on the matter. I was not involved in this, however, I must state the truth. I was also invited to engage in an observation tour. I could not attend. The invitation was extended by State Minister Premalal Jayasekara. It was organized as an observation tour. An evening meal was provided. That is a traditional thing. This is not something that will have an impact on the economy. I believe it is the development of the port.
Sri Lanka's healthcare system faced significant disruption today as several health unions launched strikes demanding a substantial increase in stipends. The protests came in response to the recent decision to grant doctors with a 35,000 rupee allowance bump.
Sri Lanka's healthcare system is facing significant disruptions as multiple unions representing various healthcare professionals launched strikes demanding fair compensation. The protests, which began on Wednesday, involved public health inspectors, entomological officers, school dental therapists, drug compounders, ECG technicians, EEG technicians, ophthalmic technicians, public health laboratory technicians and dental technicians. Adding to the pressure, many other health professionals, including minor staff, joined the protest with a token strike starting at 6 a.m. on Thursday. The ongoing strikes have inevitably impacted the functioning of the Colombo National Hospital, one of Sri Lanka's largest and busiest medical facilities.
ලේවගයක් දෙන්න කියලා ආවේ අර ඉස්සෙක් ඉල්ල ලේ ගත්තේ නෑ දැන් මට 18 වෙනිදා ක්ලිනික් පෙන්නන්න තියෙන්නේ ඉතින් ආයි ගිහිල්ලා ආයි එන්න ඕන ඉතින් ලේ දෙන්න ඉතින් කවදා.
Due to the strike launched by the health unions, the patients visiting the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital were also severely inconvenienced.
ඉවරලා ඉන්සිලින් ගහන්න දියවැඩියාවට ඉන්සිලින් ඉවරයි අදින් ඉවරයි දැන් අද තමයි තිබ්බ දිනේ දැන් දැන් 9:00ට එන්න කියලා මං උදේ එනකොට 5:00යි මෙතෙන්ද
අපිව ප්‍රාණාපේට ගන්න නැතුව අපි දෙයියන්ස් වගේ සලකන වෛද්‍යවරු කරුණා කරලා අපිට අපේ ලේවුරාවන රාක්ෂයෙන් බඩ පත් වෙන්න එපා කියන ඉල්ලීම කරනවා.
Activities at the Gampaha hospital were hampered due to the strike.
සොලුසේක ස්ට්‍රයික් ඉතිල් ලේ ගන්නවා බ්ලඩ් ගන්නවා ලැබ් එකේ චෙක් කරන්නේ කෑම කන්න නැතු 6:00 නම් ඉඳලා දැන් අපි තාමත් බඩ ගින්නේ.
The activities at many other hospitals were hampered today due to the ongoing token strike. The army was deployed to ensure the smooth flow of operations of hospitals without interruption as per the request of the Ministry of Health to Army Commander Lieutenant General Vikumliyanage. The army stated that army personnel have been assigned to the Colombo and Kandy National Hospitals and the Karapitiya, Kalabowila, Mahamodara, Peradeniya and Kurunagala teaching hospitals. We must say that we are not against the allowance hike granted to doctors of this country. All we say is that the remaining people should not be left helpless like this. The Government Midwives Association says that it is unfair for just one faction of the health sector to receive such an allowance.
The current transport allowance given to midwives is 2 rupees per kilometre. Where are our accommodation allowances? We must ask if the government has denied us these allowances because we are not up in the hierarchy of the health sector.
The Government Nursing Officers Association says that they will continue their trade union action until the government provides a satisfactory answer. Following the launch of this strike, health authorities offered to hold a discussion in this regard. There was no satisfactory outcome from it. Therefore, we will have to continue intensifying this strike. The Public Services United Nurses Union has also given their deadline as the 16th of January. We hope the Cabinet intervenes and takes the necessary action in this regard. If no attention is paid, the Public Services United Nurses Union has decided to carry out trade union action of its own.
Red Sea Crisis.
While Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe previously announced plans to deploy vessels to the Red Sea and surrounding waters, the Sri Lankan Navy has yet to receive a specific date for the commencement of the operation. Navy spokesperson Captain Gayan Wickremesuriya said that naval vessels are prepared for such a mission.
On the 3rd of January 2024, in a surprise announcement, Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe revealed the country's decision to join international efforts against the Houthis in Yemen with the deployment of vessels to the Red Sea. Houthi rebels who control large swaths of Yemen have launched missile attacks on vessels passing through the Red Sea, demanding an end to the Israeli attacks on Palestine. Their main targets are commercial ships linked to the US and Israel, and the Houthis carry out these attacks using drones and missiles. Attacks by the Houthis on commercial ships in the Red Sea have disrupted the region's crucial shipping activity, including the primary route for vessels entering the Mediterranean Sea through the Suez Canal. This disruption has prompted some ships to reroute their journeys, opting for the longer but safer passage around South Africa. The US-led Operation Prosperity Garden is already underway and covers a wide area than just the Red Sea, encompassing the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman. India has already deployed 6 warships as part of this initiative. Sri Lanka's planned deployment aligns with these efforts to support the US-led Operation Prosperity Garden that is also supported by India. Recently, the head of Yemen's Houthi Supreme Revolutionary Committee issued a stark warning, stating that any country associating with the United States-led Red Sea coalition risks losing its maritime security and becoming a target.
Red Sea Crisis.
MP Vasudeva Nanayakkara stated that Sri Lanka's intervention in this crisis is an attempt to become part of an unnecessary geopolitical issue.
$1 million දෙසිය ගන්නේ වැය කරලා අපේ නාවික හමුදාව අපේ නැවක් යවන්න.
Preparations are being made to send a Sri Lanka Navy ship to the Red Sea at a cost of $250 million. What is this crisis in the Red Sea? Ships linked to Israel and coming from Israel are targeted in these attacks. Other ships are not. The US and Europe have decided to act to prevent those attacks. However, does Sri Lanka have a massive naval force to be able to deploy vessels at a cost of $250 million for 2 weeks and intervene in this? Is this not the responsibility of nations with larger naval forces? In addition, against whom are these attacks carried out? Why should we be afraid of this? The State Defense Minister reportedly said that it is a global responsibility. You have a local obligation ahead of an international one. That is about the famine in the country.
ඔබට තියෙනවනේ දේශීය වගකීමක් මේ රටේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ අද තියෙන සාගතය ගැන.
Red Sea Crisis.
Pafwell voiced concerns regarding the apparent discrepancy between the government's claims of financial limitations and its commitment to an international security intervention.
අපි ජාත්‍යන්තර මුහුදේ ආරක්ෂාව වෙනුවෙන් මිලියන ගණනක් වෙන් කරනවා. මේ රටේ
We are to spend millions for the security of an international sea. These are public funds. At a time when people are battered by poverty and taxes, we have concerns over the use of public funds. If the state has funds for such purposes, why can't they use those funds to secure the people's democratic right to vote? It is clear that the government has no regard for democracy.
එකෙන් පේන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවට ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය පිළිබඳව කිසිදු හැඟීමක් නැහැ.
Red Sea Crisis.
The Professionals National Front expressed its stance at a press conference in Colombo today. We believe that getting involved in this Middle Eastern crisis is not a good idea. We have the responsibility of protecting our citizens, especially against a backdrop where so many Sri Lankans are working in the Middle East. Through this, the lives of those Sri Lankans will be put at risk and it will only encourage extremists. The lives of our security forces are priceless to us. Given the current economic situation, we are not in a position to go to war with any faction or support anyone militarily. We know that the ISIS took the lead in the 2019 attacks. This will only further encourage extremists. We are completely against this.
හැකියාවක් නැහැ. ISIS ත්‍රස්තවාදීන් අපි දන්නවා 2019 මෙහි ප්‍රහාරයක් එල්ල කරා. මේ රට ඇතුලේ ඉන්න අන්තවාදීනුත් උසී ගන්න ක්‍රමයක් මේ කරන්නේ. ඒකට අපි සම්පූර්ණ විරුද්ධයි.
Following Sri Lanka's announced intention to contribute to maritime security in the Red Sea, President Ranil Wickremesinghe took the opportunity to address the concerns and questions of regional stakeholders. Now, during a meeting with ambassadors from Middle Eastern countries, he provided clarifications regarding Sri Lanka's planned participation in the operation.
Led by the Palestinian ambassador, representatives of Egypt, Qatar, UAE, Libya, Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Oman and Iraq attended a meeting with Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the President's office. President Wickremesinghe elaborated on Sri Lanka's involvement in Red Sea security operations, reiterating the commitment to safeguarding the freedom of navigation while ensuring a minimal adverse impact on Sri Lanka's economy. While emphasizing Sri Lanka's existing commitments to partnerships with Western countries, the President reportedly highlighted his intention to strengthen ties with diverse regions, including Asia, West Asia, Africa and the Middle East. President Wickremesinghe underscored the necessity for authorities to take decisive steps in removing settlers from the West Bank, while advocating for the establishment of a permanent, functional Palestinian government.
Sri Lanka's Sports Minister Harin Fernando has declared that President Ranil Wickremesinghe will most definitely contest the upcoming presidential election.
An election is likely in October. As I have to get involved in those activities, I will have to get involved in politics full-time starting in March. Many are speculating whether Ranil Wickremesinghe will contest or not. He will contest. I wish to tell everyone who claims that he will not contest that Ranil Wickremesinghe will contest. Due to the weaknesses in the opposition, the JVP has risen. So when the votes for Anura Kumar and Sajid split, our guy will rise up. How can a single person become president? After taking up the role, he has served justice to this country in this short period.
බෙදුනම අපේ මහත්තයා පිනට එනවා. ඉතින් එහෙම නැත්නම් තනිමිනිය කොහොමද ජනාධිපති වෙන්නේ? වෙලාව තියෙනවනම් මිනිහෙක්ගේ ඒ වෙලාවට කැරකෙනවා. අන්තිම මම හිතන්නේ ඒ වෙලාවට ඒ එතුමා ගත්ත එකේට එතුමා යම්කිසි සාධාරණයක් ඇත්තට ලංකාවට කරලා තියෙනවා.
The SLPP said it has not discussed a presidential candidate.
පසුගිය දවස්වල ඔබතුමන්ලා කිව්වේ ධම්මික පෙරේරා මහත්මයාගේ නමත් මේ අපේක්ෂකය විදියට යෝජනා වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලානේ. හැබැයි ඇතැම් වෙබ් අඩවි වාර්තා කරලා තිබුණා ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ ඇතුළෙම මතභේදයක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා නෑ ධම්මික පෙරේරා මහත්මයා නෙමේ සුදුසු කියලා. ඒකේ සත්‍යතාවයක් තියෙනවද?
ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා ගැන මතභේදයක් ભેදයක් ඇති වෙන්න තව අපිම කතා කරේම නෑ. ඒවා එක එක්කෙනාම ගොඩනගන මත.
Dhammika Pereira, who recently announced his intentions to run for president yesterday, commented on the DP Silicon Valley IT office project in Tissa Maharama.
තමන්ගේ පවුලයි තමන්ගේ ගමයි තමන්ගේ මේ ප්‍රාදේශීය
Ask anyone who approaches you on how they plan to uplift your family, village and divisional zone. Do not listen to anything else and cheer and then go home. This is the same for ancestors as well.
අම්මයි තාත්තයිත් ගහලා තිනවා සීයයි ආච්චිත් ගහලා තිනවා මුත්තත් ගහලා තිනවා අප්පුඩි.
Former ministers Roshan Ranasinghe and Arjuna Ranatunga announced the formation of a new alliance.
අතිය ගැන රට ගැන කැක්කුමක් තියෙනවා නම් ඉස්සරහට එන්න ඕන. අන්නේ මිනිසුන්ට අපි නායකත්වය දෙන්න සූදානම්.
If you have an urge to uplift the nation, you must come forward, and we are prepared to give leadership to those people. We are trying to line up good people. There is no need to have the same group in parliament. Step forward and take up the responsibility. We will empower that group with leadership.
අන්නේ ඒ පිළිවෙල කණ්ඩායමට නායකත්වය දෙන්න කියලා කියනවා නම් එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ කණ්ඩායමට අපිට එකතු වෙන්න කියනවා නම් අපි එකතු වෙමු.
Former Governor Maitri Gunaratne launched a new political movement named Consortium of Like-Minded People in Colombo. The launch took place in the presence of former Minister Mervyn Silva. Views and suggestions for a new political journey were obtained during this event.
Crime Watch brings details of a gruesome murder.
Crime Watch.
34-year-old Buddhika Prasad was fatally shot in Koratota, Kaduwela last night, leaving a community shaken and a family grieving. According to neighbours, two unidentified individuals arrived on a motorcycle at Prasad's residence.
දින්නෙක් ආවේ ෆුල් පේස් හෙල්මට් දෙයක් දාගෙන කවුද කියලා හෙව චූටියක් ආ ඊට පස්සේ කිව්වා ස්ටෙප් එකෙන් කියලා ඊට පස්සේ කිව්වා බුද්ධික ප්‍රසාද් එන්න කියන්න කියලා ඊට පස්සේ එයාට එන්න කිව්වම එයා ආවා සෙනිකෝම බයිසිකලේ දාන් ගිහින් කොහෙට ගෙනිච්චද කියලා දැක්කේ නැහැ.
Later relatives found the man with serious injuries near the Mahavela culvert. Despite receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital, he tragically passed away. Sri Lanka police said that the deceased faced a murder charge and a firearms possession charge and was out on bail in one of the two cases that were filed against him.
Crime Watch.
The Ministry of Public Security announced that another 897 suspects have been apprehended in a 24-hour blitz operation dubbed Operation Yuktiya. Among the apprehended individuals, detention orders were issued against 23 suspects. Additionally, 19 suspects identified as those struggling with drug addiction were directed to rehabilitation centers for treatment and support.
Now, notably, 31 of the arrested individuals were listed on the Police Narcotics and Special Bureau's watch list. The operation yielded significant results in the fight against narcotics, with security forces confiscating various illegal substances, including ice, heroin and ganja.
In a routine vehicle inspection conducted this morning in Kaluthura, the Kaluthura South Police seized a significant amount of illegal cigarettes and apprehended a suspect.
Criticism continues to mount over the government's anti-terrorism bill and online safety bill. Here are some of the comments that were made at various events regarding these controversial bills today.
Activists for several professions attended the media briefing convened by the Sri Lanka Working Journalists Association today.
Emergency law should usually be enforced for a short period of time. It has not been so in Sri Lanka. Emergency laws have been enforced for long periods of time. However, these laws should be short-term for special circumstances. They are bringing this Anti-Terrorism Act to make these emergency laws permanent. We know that there is no one who has been identified as terrorists under these acts. What are they trying to do? They are trying to bring these laws to suppress struggles that may emerge in the country in the future. This government is trying to control the media in the country through this online safety bill. On one hand, the president has no power, he has no public mandate, they have no moral right to bring these acts. Ranil Wickremesinghe and the parliament has no moral right to bring these acts to parliament. This is a parliament that has been rejected by the people. Therefore, this parliament also does not have any right to bring these acts like this to suppress the freedom of expression of the general public. I would like to clearly state that they have no power to bring forward this online safety bill on the 23rd.
A staff-level delegation of IMF arrived in Sri Lanka last night.
An International Monetary Fund staff visit to Colombo is scheduled from the 11th to the 19th of January 2024. The goal is to discuss recent economic developments and follow up on upcoming program targets and commitments. IMF representatives will be holding discussions with key officials, including the President, Prime Minister, Finance Minister and Central Bank authorities. Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki arrived in Sri Lanka on Thursday afternoon on a two-day official visit.
UNDP resident representative Azusa Kubota pointed out that Sri Lanka's ongoing economic turmoil, exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, has left more than half of its population multidimensionally vulnerable to shocks.
The impact of COVID and the cascading crisis in Sri Lanka has been felt by people, particularly by the most vulnerable segment of the population. You are embedded in a community. COVID pandemic has had impact beyond the health sector. And the cascading crisis, including the recent economic crisis, has been hard-hitting for the people in the society. UNDP has looked into the multi-dimensional nature of the deprivations. And in fact, looking at 12 composite indicators, more than half of the Sri Lankans are said to be multi-dimensionally vulnerable to any shocks. And half of them do not have any shocks to climate-induced disasters. So if any disaster hits, they will have nothing to buffer their livelihoods. And when I think about the future of the young people, I really feel for them. Many of you are already in mid-career, and you'll be interacting directly with young people and counseling them for their future options. And in my own experience, when I am approached by young people for career advice, I actually struggle because the formula that used to work for success is not certain anymore. Maybe in the past, becoming a certain profession gave assurance of success and economic stability. But today's world, we don't even know what that formula will look like. The most influential and successful people may not even have a university degree. And young people choose to have multiple jobs. So if we look at the skills required to navigate today's uncertain, ambiguous, and precarious world, many of the skills that are taught in schools are not often relevant, or I would say static. One has to nurture them throughout the lifetime.
She was speaking at the 2022 convocation of postgraduates of the University of Colombo, held in Colombo.
WKE.
Speaking in Parliament, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa highlighted the plight of millions of Sri Lankans grappling with poverty and hardship.
The incumbent president is depending on the oxygen lifeline provided by the 134-member Rajapaksa group, who by the Supreme Court were held for violating the fundamental rights. The country has been flattened by the VAT. This government has done all possible disgusting things it can do, while using the IMF as a scapegoat. The Learn Asia survey says that the number of poor people increased by 4 million, from 3 million to 7 million. 900,000 electricity consumers have seen their supply disconnected. However, it is done while 52 billion rupees is generated as profits. Is this the government that understands the plight of the people?
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.